through. And oh my God, an insane goal! I've just seen the most insane goal I have ever seen.
Hoylett's got the better of Buxton. Puts it into an area. Keogh, Zamora!
Hello and welcome back to the Talk About Nothing podcast. As ever, you're joined by myself, Hugo, and Alfie.
Hello.
And today is a very special episode for one reason, because we have our first guest, a man who's been to over 400 Tottenham games. He now has a season in the South Stand. It's Mr. Daniel Rossiter. Would you like to say hello?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, not bad. How are you, Dan?
I'm not too bad, not too bad.
Good. Just before we get to the episode, be sure to subscribe. 86% of you are not subscribed to the channel.
As
Also,
of today,
Twitter.
which is Wednesday the 13th of May, we are on 17 subscribers, which is out of the 150 views on our first episode is poor. It's poor.
Very poor.
So yeah, we are recording this on the Wednesday. Hopefully this will be out on Sunday. Otherwise known as a day after the Bundesliga starts, and we'll get onto that. So yeah, ensure you are subscribed to the channel. If you've got Twitter, go and follow that. It's about without the T talk, so ABOU_TALK. And we have some new segments for you today. We're going to get straight on. The first of which is called Hot Takes. So we all have a football opinion that might be unpopular with most other football fans. We're going to share them and debate them. Does anybody want to go first, or how are we going to do this?
Right, mine's more of a debate topic, so I'm gonna start because I think it's gonna go downhill. No, it's gonna go very uphill from my one. So I think that there should be a Premier League rule which says at least 5 players in the starting 11 must be English. Now, some clubs would be okay with that. And like clubs that come up from the Championship, but you have clubs like City and clubs up there that have a lot of foreign players which would struggle with that rule. Okay, so what we saying? What do we think?
Well, I think it would, if it did come into play, it would definitely put the price up for English players even more than they are now, and it would, teams like City or Chelsea, well, Chelsea less recently, would definitely be in trouble with that rule.
Hugo?
Yeah, I think obviously we've got the quota at the moment in terms of in the squad, but I'm not sure how many is that 3 players in the squad? It's a very low amount of players in the squad that have to be English.
And they don't even have to start as well.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm not opposed to the rule. The only thing I probably would say is, would it benefit English football? I mean, the obvious answer is...
Well,
yeah.
I think clubs would be forced to have youngsters, would be forced to...
Yeah, like if you think about, like, say City, like people like Phil Foden, they'd be getting a lot more minutes because he's already at the level of most other Premier League teams, and he would definitely get... He'd probably be very much more developed than he is now. People like at Arsenal, they've got a couple of youngsters. Chelsea less recently. People, if they didn't have transfer ban, they almost certainly wouldn't have all the young English players. So
I just think if England want to win tournaments and we want to be developing young English players, which there are an abundance of at the moment, I think this rule will be a great way to force clubs to develop young players and get them in the starting 11 in the Premier League.
Yeah, but if you think about, on the other hand, like, one of the main reasons the Premier League is one of the best in the world is that it attracts like the biggest talents across the whole of the world. People like Brazilians, South American, like Spain, they can all come to England, and like the reason it attracts the very best players in the world, because there's no rule like that where they have to be English. So I think like it'd be a less elite league, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I think the reason why one of the reasons why the league is so elite is because there's so much money in the league that money at the top is going to be invested in the top players in the world, which obviously not all of them are English. And that's why not as many English players are given a chance, such as Foden, because City, you know, if we're using an example of bringing in all this talent from abroad. But also, what I'm not opposed to is some of these English players going out to other countries and playing. Sanchez obviously comes to mind. Reece Nelson was on loan at Hoffenheim the other year. And Padu's now at Leipzig. I know he's not English, but Welsh, you know, if we talk about the UK. And I'm not opposed to that, you know, get some foreign football in their blood because traditionally, how many, you know, players from the UK actually do go abroad, or apart from like the MLS or China in their late years, in their prime, how many of them are not playing in England?
It's becoming
If you
more.
look at the England squad, there's very little people that don't play in England.
Yeah.
I think it's just Sancho.
Yeah.
I think that's it. And everyone else is in the Premier League.
Yeah. But also, like, if you think about it, like, look at Heung-min Son. He basically attracts the whole continent, the whole of Asia.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
At Tottenham games, it's like...
I know QPR had that Ji-sung Park all those years ago. I remember the first game of the season. I want to say it's when we lost to Bolton 4-0. And I remember there were so many Korean flags all over, which was interesting because we don't see that many Asians in QPR. Okay, Dan, do you want to hit us with your hot take, or I'm happy to go?
So it could be a bit controversial with many England fans.
That's what we like to hear.
But my unpopular opinion is that England's 2018 Russia World Cup run was overrated.
What do you mean by overrated?
As in too easy?
The actual run to the semi-final, the football we were playing, the teams we were beating. Because I've got some stats here. We lost 3 out of the 7 games we played at the World Cup. We only beat Tunisia, scraped past Tunisia with a last-minute goal, beat Panama, beat Colombia on penalties, and then Sweden.
All right, I just want to pull you up on the penalties one. That was the first England penalty shootout in a long time. All right, so the fact that we even got to a penalty shootout and won it in a knockout stage is pretty rated in itself.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking away from the achievement of getting to a World Cup semi-final, but we didn't play like a France or a Spain or a Belgium. We lost to Belgium twice,
and that's why I was saying at the time, because people forget that Italy never qualified for that World Cup, and I want to say the Netherlands didn't qualify either for that World Cup. So actually, 2 of the European heavyweights weren't in the competition, and that's why it was England's to win. Think about Croatia got to the World Cup final, and they played great football. Obviously, they beat us.
Should have beaten them.
But my point is that a team of Croatia's standard will never get to the World Cup final, in my opinion, anytime soon. And that's the same with England. We're probably a bit better than Croatia. I mean, I'd like to say so. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But
we beat them
that's what I mean in terms of it was our tournament to win if we were going to win one soon. So, the run might not have been hard, but I don't think it's necessarily overrated because, I think it's evident actually what it did for the nation, the morale of the nation. You see all the people getting up in pubs, in central areas, like in central London, the screen was put up, and I don't know. I don't think it was overrated for what
you could also say what you want about who was in the competition. Everyone was shit, whatever. But it comes down to beat who's in front of you. I mean, you can't worry about. I'm
not taking away from the achievement of it.
Yeah.
But the actual run, like everyone was, Southgate's a hero, whatever.
I mean, that's an interesting hot take. Certainly, there's room for debate there. We'll finish this segment with mine, which is Norwich City. If they were to go down from the Premier League, and obviously games have to be played, if they're going to be played, whatever, they would struggle in the Championship. Let me just expand, just quickly, before we bring you guys in. So, first of all, I'd like to say that I think Farke would leave. I think a big Championship club would offer him a lot more money than Norwich are, and he'd probably take the offer. They're top players this season. Okay. I think Cantwell would definitely leave, as would both their fullbacks, Max Aarons and Jamal Lewis. I know Tottenham were linked to both of them the summer previous as they were going into the Premier League. Ben Godfrey, also their English centre-back, a young talent. I think he would also definitely leave. And Buendia, who for some reason Farke has been leaving out the last couple of weeks of the season. He's got 7 assists in this season. And I know he's been linked to Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan, as well as the top teams in England. I'd put him in that Maddison Grealish debate. I'd put him alongside them. And also Pukki is probably their star player this season.
Did you just say you put Buendia alongside Maddison and Grealish?
100%.
I don't think Buendia scored this season.
He hasn't, because he hasn't had a lot of minutes. I wish I had his stats here. His stats for creation numbers, 3 balls, even winning the ball back are crazy. They are
You said
crazy.
you don't know why Farke hasn't been playing him. He came out in a press conference and said it's because he's not scoring any goals. And if you have a player with his creativity in that position, he has to score goals.
Okay, that's going slightly off topic, but okay, point taken. But I don't agree with it. But anyway, last stat hit. 2 more stats I've got for you. 72% of their goals this season in the Premier League have been scored by Pukki, Cantwell, or Lewis. 72%. And I think for certain, all 3 of those players will leave, meaning they need to reinvest in a whole new attack. They've got one of the worst defences in the league, and I think even with a bad defence, a lot of their defenders will leave, meaning they need a new defence. And Sky Sports published yesterday, I saw on Instagram, stats from experimental361.com, and they put Norwich with a 95% chance of going down. The stats they've used to calculate that, I don't know, but if Sky Sports publishing them, I assume they're quite reliable, and they still have to play Arsenal, City, and Chelsea, and Everton. There you go. I'll bring you guys in now.
Yeah, I don't think it's in doubt that they're going down.
Yeah.
I think that's a definite. But I've got Buendia's stats here this season. He's created 7 big chances and got 7 assists in 28 appearances. He's played 17 through balls in 28 appearances, and he's got no goals. He's only got 7 assists, which for an attacking midfielder to have 7 goal contributions in 28 games isn't well, definitely not on the level of Maddison and Grealish.
All I'll say
that level of
is that I know when Buendia was left out, I was seeing on Twitter from all these Norwich fans screaming at Farke through their phones, getting angry at Farke because Buendia's numbers are ridiculous. I think like the numbers that in particular are good are the ones shots per 90.
What is the only stat in football that matters?
Assists. Anyway, so okay. Does anyone have any opinions on Norwich in the Championship and how they?
Well, I think if they do somehow, I mean, it depends. No one knows how the transfer window is going to work.
Yeah.
Our manager Mark Warburton said that he doesn't think there's going to be a transfer window until January. If that is the case and Norwich go down and keep their players, I think it's pretty much the same team that went up last season. So in that respect, if they were to keep the players, I don't think they'd struggle at all. I think they'd definitely be in with a shout for promotion. However, if we say that they're going to lose a lot of their young players, their decent players, Pukki especially, then it depends who they invest in, isn't it? I mean,
but one thing I would say is I think they could maybe get 80 million for the players I mentioned, probably even more than that, because I think especially they're both fullbacks, because they're English and young, their prices would be supercharged.
Yeah, no,
anyway, Norwich aren't necessarily the biggest spenders. And I'm not sure, although they can make smart business, which you've seen in the Championship time and time again, would they do it? I'm not sure. But look, that one's definitely up for debate. Maybe not as popular.
Only time will tell. We'll come back here in a year and we'll see.
The next segment, which is also a new one, is we don't have a good name for it, but it's essentially potential bargains and potential flops. So how this will work is Alfie has been designated the Championship, Dan the Premier League, and myself the other top 4 leagues in Europe. We have all picked 2 players, one that we think will probably go if the transfer window did happen and would be a bargain, would not be bought for very much money and be very good for that money, and one that would be a flop, one that would be bought for a lot of money and probably not return the output you'd expect for someone who costs that much. So as I said, Alfie has looked in the Championship, Dan in the Premier League, and myself in the other 4 leagues in Europe. Again, does anybody want to go first? How are we going to do this? Dan,
I don't mind going first.
Dan, yeah, because I went first last time.
Okay, so Ryan Fraser. Some might rate him, some might not.
Okay.
I think he is a very quality player. His contract is running out in June this year. So this summer he would have been able to move to any team. I'll just give you some stats. So last season, he scored 7 goals and got 14 assists. If you compare this to the likes of Marcus Rashford, he scored 10 goals but only got 6 assists. So Ryan Fraser's 21 contributions to his 16. Also, if you compare it to an icon of David Silva, who scored, albeit in 5 less games, he only scored 6 and contributed 8. So, and if you think about it, he's playing in a Bournemouth team who aren't one of the biggest teams in the league. So they'll go long periods of the games without having the ball. They'll have less clinical attacking players. And yeah, so I think he is a very, very good player, and I think he would definitely be a bargain. He's only 26 years old, so
Interesting.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Yeah, no, one thing I probably would say is that he's probably the star player when he plays for Bournemouth, maybe apart from Wilson and King. So do you not think the ball is kind of, let's give it to Fraser in the same way Villa's, let's give it to Grealish, and therefore his numbers might be supercharged? Because if he went to a bigger club, he wouldn't necessarily be the superstar.
well, I think obviously, and for any team down in the lesser in the league, like the Bournemouth, Villa, people like that, their tactic is mainly give it to the attacking clinical players like Zaha at Palace. So just give it to them and see what they can do with it. But still, 14 assists last season, giving it to Wilson. He was out injured for a while, so Josh King, 7 goals as well. He's just a very, very clinical player, and he's a very creative player. There are not many people rate him.
All right, so who's your flop then?
My flop is Declan Rice.
Oh.
Now, I've seen him being linked with a £70 million move to Chelsea, and honestly, it's a joke. Like, he's meant to be a defensive midfielder. He stops attacking. But his West Ham team this season is conceded 97 goals in the last 2 seasons, and he's a defensive midfielder, and he's meant to be one of the upcoming best for the future. Getting England, West Ham fans calling for England, call ups left, right, and centre, and obviously he's got no creativity at all. In the last 3 seasons, he's made 89 appearances and got 2 goals and 2 assists.
I want to say one of those was against Arsenal. I don't know who the other one was against.
Yeah. Well,
now,
clearly not very memorable either.
If you remember, in the first episode, I put Declan Rice in my England team ahead of Jordan Henderson. So I'm going to agree, and I'm going to stand by that. But I'm going to agree that Rice is not worth 70 million.
Yeah,
that is.
Oh, he's 21. He's 21 to be fair. He's got a long time to go.
He's good, but he's not worth 70 million. Hugo, you look like you want to.
I said at the time, and I'll say it again: the fact that you think Jordan Henderson is
that is
of Declan Rice. But I'm not going to get into that again.
I'm going to stand by that.
I don't think he's good enough on his like playing alone in a defensive role. I think he is good if you've got him next to someone, such as Jordan Henderson for England. But yeah, no, I agree. 70 million for someone who, in my opinion, doesn't do a lot. However, he is still better than Winks, but we don't want to bring up that being a touchy Tottenham fan. Do we stay in England and go over to you?
Yeah. Okay. So my bargain from the Championship, who I think would be a brilliant buy, is Tyrese Campbell of Stoke City. Tyrese Campbell is a young player. From the times that I've seen him, he's very strong and a standout player in a weak Stoke City team. I think that he would be, if any Premier League club or even Championship club were to come in for him, I don't think they'd get him for a lot of money, and I think he would be an outstanding buy. I believe he is English. I think he's had the option to play for a couple countries, but I think he is English. So maybe boosts his value even more. And he's also not very talked about. So, yeah, I think that would be a good one. Any thoughts?
Have you got his goals and assists? Like, is he?
I honestly haven't. I'm a bit underprepared for this episode. You guys seem to have pulled together a bit more than I have.
We saw him in February when he scored against us in that 4-2 victory for us.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've seen a bit of him just from highlights, every Saturday of the Championship. Yeah, he seems good and young. Obviously, he wasn't playing for Stoke at the start of the season when it was all going quite downhill for them. He's come into the team, and since then, Stoke's form has picked up a bit. Him and Kalukas have probably been their 2 best players this season. Not watching too much Stoke City, because who would do that to themselves? I think that is a very good shout.
So my overrated player is Ryan Brewster, because I think he is not very good. He was tipped to come to the Championship and score about a hat-trick a game. He didn't do that. I saw him, the fact that QPR can keep a clean sheet against Swansea with him up front probably proves that he's not an amazing striker. However, he rates himself very highly, and Liverpool fans also gas him. So, I just think that someone would buy him for about 30 mil and he would just be absolute pants. So, what are we saying?
Yeah, I think a couple fans have been putting him on the same wavelength as Foden before he went to Swansea, because they're both the youngsters for the two biggest clubs in England or whatever, but obviously he's not on the same level as Foden, as that's now been proved. No, I don't think he's anything special. I think, I want to say he was at West Ham before and Liverpool signed him, I want to say, but don't quote me on that. I think he's very average, probably would do decent shit for the Championship, maybe a second striker for a Premier League club. He's weak, he's small, I wouldn't want to play him by himself. That's what I say about it. I think that's a very good shout, because I think a big team.
Well, I think
spend money on him.
What I've seen of him from the under-17 World Cup and I've seen academy videos of him, and he is very clinical, but he's a poacher. He will score goals wherever he plays.
Well, he played up front in the what was it, Arsenal Liverpool game where it was like 5-5 or something ridiculous, and he was up front in a team that scored 5 goals and didn't score. So I think that says it all, really.
Going alongside that, you mentioned on the 17 World Cup, I want to say Dominic Solanke was in that squad, and he got like a £20 million move to Bournemouth and has done absolutely nothing since. So let's remind ourselves, it's under 17 football. Okay.
All right, here you go.
That comes to an end. All right, so obviously I've had 4 leagues in Europe to look into. Just before I go on to mine, since I've had a vision, I'm pretty sure it was Chelsea, not West Ham, that Brewster played for.
The vision being Wikipedia.
Yeah, okay. So obviously I had 4 leagues in Europe to look from. For my potential bargain, I've gone to Spain. A man playing for Villarreal by the name of Manuel Chukwueze. I am sorry if I butchered the pronunciation, but I don't think, I'm hoping that was all right. So this season, he started 13 times and has been used as a sub 13 times. In that time, he's got 3 goals and 3 assists, playing for Villarreal, as I said.
What position?
He's a right winger predominantly, but can play on the left. His first cap for Nigeria came in 2018, and since he's gone on to get 12 more, scoring 1 goal in an AFCON qualifier. On average, he takes 2.4 shots a game, which is second in La Liga for under-21s, under João Felix, who obviously got a £120 million move in the summer. So, if you're putting him in that category, that's some category to be in a plus £100 million. 0.7 goal contributions per 90 minutes, and he's been linked to Liverpool and Napoli. Not that I'd seen that before I looked into him, so I don't think those rumours are particularly strong. But no, I hadn't heard of him before I did this research, but from what I've seen, some highlights and his underlying stats, he looks like a very, very solid player that I think you could get out of it for probably around the 20 to 30 million pound mark. And for his output, I think that could be a decent bargain.
Okay, I mean, I've never heard of him, so I can't really comment, but by the sounds of it, you've done your research.
Yeah, I can't say I know too much about him.
Yeah, that was my.
But I think by what you've been saying about him and his goal contributions and something like that, I reckon he could be a very good backup striker to Harry Kane. Just looking at from a Tottenham perspective, like he could come in. No,
Tottenham would take anyone.
Yeah,
to be fair, that's fair.
I think it'd be more similar to like a Bergwijn or a Lamella, which you've got quite a few of now, as Son and Lucas.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Bergwijn, Lamella.
My flop, who you'll both know, is a man by the name of James Rodriguez. Now, he was obviously tipped when he was in his Porto days to be the next big thing, and he earned that big money move to Monaco when they bought a lot of players in that summer. Jean Martino comes to mind. Falcao was already there, but lots of big players. He's played 7 times this season and only scoring 1 goal from Real Madrid. He's now at. He was on a 2-year loan at Bayern Munich from the 17-18 and 18-19 season in 43 games. He got 29 goal contributions total. Now, I think he'd come with a high transfer fee. I think Real Madrid probably want to get rid of him because they've got so many players in that position, and he doesn't seem to be in favour with Zidane. And he will also have a high wage. On top of that, I think he's been linked to clubs like Everton because of Ancelotti, but I don't think he's necessarily built for a tough league. I think he's a bit weak. He's a bit too flary. Do you know what I mean? not really in the mould of
We'll get clammed in
getting
the Premier
stuck in. So,
I mean,
do you
all
reckon
his success comes from one goal, doesn't it?
yeah,
That goal
that
he
goal-
scored for Colombia.
Well, that
That is
24-16
basically
Cup.
all he's done.
yeah. I just don't think he's
He was very good in that
one of
one.
the kids who was at Porto, and I don't think he's lived up to his expectations one bit.
No,
If any of you
not at
see
all.
maybe more of him or want to add anything before we move on to our final section.
I mean, I agree with you. I think, yeah, that's it. I agree with you. That's all I have to say on that
He's a
matter.
good player, but he's not top level.
Especially when you'd probably be looking at like 60 to 70 pounds, million pounds, sorry.
60 to 70 quid.
Taking 60 quid.
Okay. Now, as we are going to do with all guests, but obviously Dan is the first one, we have a quiz. Me and Alfie have both prepared 5 questions each about Tottenham Hotspur because that is the team that Dan supports.
Oh,
So
this segment actually has a name. This segment has a name.
It's how well do you know your club? Thank you, Alfie, for teeing it up.
Boom.
I smashed it in.
All right, okay, so previous scores. In the first episode, I asked Hugo questions, and Hugo got a grand total of 2 out of 10. In the last episode, in the QPR special, Hugo asked me 10 questions, and I got 5 of them. So, Dan, you have 5 as the record score out of 2 episodes in our third
5 out of
episode
10.
now. That is what you have to beat. And I honestly think you'll do it.
The consistency of difficulty in the questions has just, well, it's not been consistent, has it? That's all I'll say.
I'm
But
sorry, one of the questions I got last time, the Van Nistelrooy one.
that was okay. Yeah, I'll give you that. Okay.
All right.
Dan, I'm going to start you off. And
Right
in
on.
Tottenham history, who has the most Premier League wins?
Oh, that is a tough one, that is. Oh. In Premier League, right, so from 92 onwards, we weren't great until about 5 seasons ago. We were not good at all. So, but it's got to be... Who would have a lot of games?
Working. What players are coming into your brain?
Well, it won't be the recent team because they're not around long enough. Like Gary Mabbott.
I think I've got an idea. But obviously, it's your quiz.
I don't know if we Gary Mabbott. Who else would there be?
I'm going to push you for an answer.
Right, I'm going to go for Gary Mabbott.
That is incorrect. I've never heard of that guy. It
Like,
is-
wait, whoa.
Yeah, Alfie, sorry,
I would have
sorry,
guessed
sorry.
Brad Friedel.
Okay, so it is a goalkeeper. It's actually Hugo Lloris.
Ah,
Oh, he was here for a good while, to be fair.
147 wins.
that is not a lot.
It's not that many.
Yeah, we
It's
weren't
not a
great
lot,
for good
is it?
while. We weren't great for a good while, Alfie.
Okay,
Alfie, over to you.
right. So my question is slightly easier. I'm going to start with my easiest question. How much money was Gareth Bale sold for to the nearest million?
86 million.
That's
the correct answer. Well done. Well, I say straight off the bat. Question 2, you got one right.
One out of two.
Keeping a tally. I've got the tally. Okay. So, who scored? I'm sure this is a question you've probably heard a lot on like trivia things. Who scored the last goal in the old White Hart Lane?
Victor Wanyama. Oh, Wayne Rooney, actually. He scored it, didn't he?
Yeah. Nearly caught you out. Yeah, it is Wayne Rooney.
I remember that game.
Beat United.
Very vividly.
2-1. Okay, so that's 2 out of 3. Alfie, over to you.
Right. The last time Tottenham Hotspur won a competitive trophy, who was the top scorer that season? Joint. There's actually 2 of them, but you can have one because it's got the same
One.
goals.
Right. That was Dimitar Berbatov within that team. Robbie Keane is probably in that team as well. I'll go Dimitar Berbatov.
The fact that there are 2 answers and the only 2 names you said were both of them.
Wow.
What, Robbie Keane and Dimitar?
It was, and that it was in 2008. The competition you won was the league, the
League
Carling
Cup.
Cup. It was a Carling Cup, yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
back then,
Jonathan Woodgate, extra time header.
and it was 23 goals they scored in all competitions. And Berbatov and Keane, well done.
Okay, now this is, you either know it or you don't. Actually, no, you don't know. You could work this one out. How many goals did Tottenham score in the Champions League group stage this season?
Oh,
Now, there are obviously only 6 games, so if you can remember the scorelines, then you've only got some simple addition to do.
We're going to be here ages. Wait for Dan to do maths.
whoa! That is a low blow. That is a low blow. Oh, yeah, right. So we had Olympiacos, Red Star Belgrade, and right. So Red Star Belgrade was like 5-4 or something. Well, I'm just gonna guess, about 14.
It was 18.
Oh, it's decent, yes.
Just quickly, when you said it was Tottenham Red Star 5-4,
Yeah.
no,
No.
that
What was
never
it?
happened.
What was
I've
it
got the
away?
games listed here.
What was it away?
Away, it was 4-0, but that's still away.
Oh wow, that is poor.
But yeah, so he scored 2 against Olympiacos away, 2 at Bayern at home, 5 against Red Star at home, 4 against Red Star away, 4 Olympiacos at home, and 1 at Bayern away. Alfie, over to you.
Okay, another one I think you'll get. Another Gareth Bale themed question. Gareth Bale signed in 2007 for £5 million, but which French defender was brought in the same window for £8 million?
Which year was it?
2007 in the summer.
7. Yunus Kabul.
Correct.
Oh, that would have been my guess, just for the record.
Oh,
That's quite a hard question. We should.
Okay.
that was a hard question. The only reason I knew that is because he got the assist for the Champions League game against Man City.
You've got all of mine right so far. That's poor.
Okay, so this is a weird question. I've got some players who another Tottenham player has played with all these players, and you've got to guess
Oh, that's good.
who that Tottenham player is.
Good, fair play.
Okay. Romelu Lukaku, Luis Suarez, Ashley Young, and Daley Blind.
Right, let me write this down.
A lot of Man United players in there.
Lukaku, Lint. Who else?
Suarez and Ashley Young. I've got one more clue that if you can't get it soonish, I'll add this one in. Alfie, do you have anything formulating in your head?
Carrick.
I'm just trying to think who's played for Spurs and Man U.
Well, Berbatov, Carrick.
His players also played with Jan Vertonghen at 2 clubs.
Right, so Ajax.
Okay, I think I have an idea.
Ajax. Right, so it could be. Jan Vertonghen. He was at Ajax and then came to us, didn't he? Right. Who was at Ajax? Ericsson? No. Oh, well, out of. Where was Louis Suarez? The Suarez is a banner in the works.
It annoys me so much that you can't see facial expressions on the podcast.
Get a smile.
Right, so it's out of Alderweireld, Ericsson. Oh. I don't know where Louis Suarez comes into it. Not a clue.
I'm going to push you. Alderweireld.
Yeah.
Is incorrect. It is Ericsson, who you did say.
Who did he play with Louis? Who did he play with Louis?
So Suarez at Ajax, Vertonghen at Ajax and Tottenham, Daley Blind at Ajax, Ashley Young and Lukaku both at Inter Milan, where of course he is now.
Yeah.
Okay, over to you.
My questions are easy now. I'm looking at them. Gee, you're going to get all of them. Oh, that's annoying. All right. Where did Spurs finish in the 10-11 season?
10-11. That was the first season we were in the Champions League. Oh, how would I remember that? Wait, was it though? Oh, or was it the season we qualified? No, 9 and 10. We finished.
You're answering your own questions.
I think we finished.
We qualified. No.
Was that the year we finished 4th and Chelsea? Oh no, it's 2012.
I mean, that's just the Turat season. Everyone knows. 10-11, that was Turat season.
The Turat season.
I'm going to go 5th.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Is it fifth?
You're making me look bad. Yeah, it's 5th. Fuck you.
Okay, so the last question, or my last question, so Alfie's got one. It's a career path. Everyone knows that.
Oh, the classic career path.
Two episodes. Okay, so he started his career. No, I won't say where he started his career, but the year was 1998.
Jesus
If
Christ.
I tell you the club, you'll get it. 'Cause he's into a country. From that club, he went to Bayer Leverkusen. He then joined Tottenham in 2006. He then later, not necessarily straight from Tottenham, he later played for Fulham and PAOK, the Greek club.
Yeah. PAOK, yeah.
PAOK. There are a couple of clubs I've left out.
Right. So I'm thinking of Berbatov again, but I don't think it'd be him.
Expressions, man.
PAOK.
We gotta stop it because no one can see it.
PAOK. You didn't mention Monaco. Is it Berbatov?
It is Berbatov. It is indeed. I'll just go through his whole career quickly. So it was Sofia, which is obviously in Bulgaria, which I then thought might be quite easy.
I wouldn't know it was in Bulgaria.
Then Leverkusen to Tottenham, to United, to Fulham, to Monaco, to PAOK, to Kerala Blaskets.
Oh.
Blasters. Sorry, I can't remember in writing. Blasters. Where he retired. Alfie, over to you for the last question.
Right, you're gonna get this immediately. I don't even know why I'm bothering. Where did Spurs sign Robbie Keane from?
We signed Robbie Keane from. Hang on. This is actually. I'm not too sure on this one. It could have been Wolves. Wolves was. I think it's Wolves. Portsmouth. No. Wolves. Going with Wolves.
Yes, that's incorrect. It's Leeds. Leeds. Yep.
But he had such a weird career. He played for Inter Milan.
I would love to give you all his clubs, but I didn't actually research that, so I'm not going to.
I counted that as 5 correct, but I don't think that's true.
Hold on. 1, 2, 3. We got 4 of mine right.
You got 1, 2. You got 2 of mine right.
6.
6. Okay, so I've missed one somewhere.
Okay, so you are the reigning champion. How well do you know your club? Do you know what? Pretty damn well.
Just before we wrap this up, Dan, as we ask all our guests, you are the first one. So at the moment, we're only asking if you want a desert island and it's to take one music album with you, which album would you take?
Oh.
Did you say it like that?
Just so we really get a feel for that.
He's got emotion, those words.
Which album would you take?
Which album would you take?
Oh my god.
Well, probably Psychodrama, could be Utopia. Yeah.
Gonna have to push you.
Probably actually Utopia and Huncho.
Utopia. Okay. So hopefully this is out on Sunday, meaning the Bundesliga started yesterday.
Which means what a great win that was for Union Berlin, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
I know I am, and I'm pretty sure Alfie are following Union Berlin and following Seb Poulsen leading there from QPR.
Yep.
Obviously, Leicesters on loan at Cologne, and they're 10th and 11th respectively. Dan, anyone you're looking out for in particular in the Bundesliga?
Bentaleb's still at Schalke, isn't he?
I think he is. I think he's been starting a lot under Wagner. Wagner's been revitalised Schalke.
Right.
I'd quite to see Leipzig do something. I like Nagelsmann, how young he is, fresh air in the league. Obviously, you're going to say they knocked you out of the Champions League. Thank you very much for listening. If you could like the video and subscribe if you're not already, turn the notification bell on so you never miss an upload. Hopefully this will be out weekly, maybe twice per week in lockdown, so we have a lot of time on our hands. Hope you enjoyed. Get out the Twitter, which is ABOU_TALK on Twitter. Thanks for me, Alfie and Dan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.